Hello, Allison. Thank you for your patience. I swear I recorded a video for you, but I cannot find it anywhere. So here we go. Because I know I was especially looking forward to yours being about art. Okay. Paper 2. The visual arts field is an extremely difficult industry to get a foot in and make your mark. You need to curate your own special identity and then work as hard as you can to reach your dream position, director, cinematographer, actor, etc. It is a tough field to go into because the technology and processes are constantly changing, so you must be able to adapt to these quickly. Although the film industry involves a wide range of media platforms and professions, common trends that tend to emerge relate to how people, this sounds getting a little long, to how people are treated and accepted in the field. In my research, I plan to explore what those patterns are and the detailed controversies of the film industry and how they will impact a young filmmaker. I believe to do this, I'll have to explore a wide variety of film professions in this field. That's another sentence I feel like has maybe more words than it needs. This includes exploring everything from the actual jobs on set to the editor and distributor's responsibilities. By looking at each level of the industry, I will truly get a good grasp on what I need to prepare for my future and attempt to understand the common themes of this field of work. Lovely. So you started with, it's difficult to get a foot in. You need to curate your special identity and then work. There's a lot of change, different platforms, but there are common trends. So yeah, this first few sentences, that was a lot of different stuff that I don't know if you're actually going to discuss. But yeah, you for an introduction, I feel like you threw a lot of ideas at us there. Introductions are maybe the hardest thing to write, so believe me, I understand. And then you go to how people are treated and accepted, explore the patterns, yes, explore the variety of film professions. I don't know, something about that, I'm thinking maybe the different roles in the film industry rather than professions, because profession generally would just be like a, I don't even know if we would use that word really in film. It's usually, when we talk about professions, it's usually something that, I'm just thinking out loud here, something that you have to go to school to get a particular education for, and then I don't know. Now I'm going to look up the definition of profession, but okay, this explores everything from the actual jobs on set to the editor and distributor's responsibilities. But looking at each level of the industry, I will truly get a good grasp of what I need to prepare for my future and attempt to understand the common themes of this field of work. Right, you setting the table nicely there about what we're about to do. Some of my initial research questions focus on the beginnings of becoming a filmmaker. To do well in the business, do you need to go to big cities like Los Angeles and New York? See, I know I did this and read this because I went on a diatribe about New York over Los Angeles. From previous knowledge, I know that most production companies are based in either New York or LA, and all aspects of pre-production and post-production happen in-house. All aspects? I think it'd be safe to say most. I know there's at least one company in Kansas City that does some titles and stuff. Some other questions I had included, do the patterns of the film industry, and these seem to be stemming from the fact that you know where they happen. I don't feel like it's just some other questions. Anyway. Okay, do the patterns of film industry differ from city to city? Does the undergraduate school you go to make a difference in future job markets? What about the internships? I think one of the most important responsibilities of a filmmaker is to truly represent the diverse society we live in today. Yes, I love that you've been following through on that thread. This has always been a topic of controversy, specifically surrounding various award shows. What do the specific Oscar rules and regulations say about this? Are there areas of the film industry where inclusivity is more prominent? What commonalities are shared between these and these award shows? How do they affect young filmmakers? Okay, so this whole chunk about diversity, I feel like, is a really separate thread because you're about, I believe, to go into talking about LA, which is a terrible place. Don't move there. But you're focusing on the place, so I would move all this chunk about diversity to somewhere later. Los Angeles, more specifically Hollywood, is the hub for the majority of media production in the United States. I mean, I think so. New York has a lot of media production now. You see how this was all just a New York, LA thing? Okay. The commonly withheld statement of the show business industry is if you want to become an actor or work in film, go to Hollywood. That, I think, I'm going to agree with you there. Okay, the major reason for all the buildup of movie studios in Hollywood is the almost guarantee of sunny, warm weather, perfect for filming conditions. The golden age of Hollywood is dominated by the Big Five: Warner Bros., RKO, Fox, MGM, and Paramount. Yeah, I just did that just to make your video longer and more interesting since you've gone so long without one. I just went to the Warner Brothers studio tour last summer. It was cool. Their ability to adapt with the times, such as kickstarting the popularity of westerns and musicals, or using World War II to make propaganda-based media, dominated any other professional rival city. See, too long, too many ideas in one sentence. To take over the film industry. I know you can clean that up. Although a lot of glitzy appeal comes from Hollywood, there's, quote, little chance of making it big. They, quote, spend what little money they have on acting classes, agents, and headshots, this source says. I'm wondering if you want to direct quote that, because it doesn't seem like it's written in any particularly lovely way. I mean, you can direct quote it if you want to, but when the money runs out, these would-be stars often become desperate, even homeless. So is it worth the risk? It's projected that the population of Los Angeles County will increase 3.5 million by 2050, and it will remain the largest county and city in the state. Although this massive number is quite daunting. Okay, so we're talking about it can be really hard to make it in Hollywood. And then we've moved to, there's going to be a lot of, I mean, there are a lot of people living there, and there are going to be a lot of people living there. Although this massive number is quite daunting, a little stressful to someone who's hoping to move to Los Angeles after their undergraduate degree, it is the place with the most opportunity. Just on a personal note, I would say, having spent the years that I did in New York, like a really huge city is actually just made up of lots of small little towns kind of all glued together, especially if you find a more neighborhoody place to live. Big cities naturally, because humans can't know everyone, they naturally split up into smaller groups. So I don't feel like that's as scary as I thought it was before I moved to New York. Okay. So it's a bridge to some of the top opportunities in the field. You have so many good points to make and so many good ideas that definitely, as I'm going through here, just the issue is about kind of streamlining it and deciding, I don't think you need to talk about how many people are there when you're talking about many become desperate, even homeless. I mean, I'd certainly believe that. That's enough to me to discuss risk. Okay, to get a better understanding of the inner workings of the film industry, I talked to Matt Jacobson, the basic video production professor here at KU. Professor Jacobson has worked as a cinematographer and director, as well as various career positions all around Los Angeles. He received his undergraduate at California State University of Los Angeles, and then received his MFA in film and video production from the University of Southern California in 1991. So you don't need to direct quote that. You just need to say where your source was. And honestly, you might not even need to say that, because I'm guessing you could see this if you look him up on IMDb. But when it's just such a straight up fact, it's just kind of hard to argue about plagiarism, because it's received? They're just hardly using any of their words, like received and from, right? And the rest of that is just common knowledge, to the extent that you could look him up online. Okay. During and after his undergraduate, he worked 2 internships. He was a research assistant for Ripley's Believe It or Not, fun, as well as a night stage manager and production assistant for our Hearly production services in Hollywood. The next couple years, this feels like a new paragraph. The next couple years, he worked in various positions in the industry and worked his way up to become a cinematographer. He now works with writer and KU instructor Kevin Wilmot. Combined, they both have received 2 entrances into the Sundance Film Festival. Professor Jacobson has extensive experience in the film industry, so I was eager to learn about living in Los Angeles and the key things you should know when going into the industry. That feels kind of like the first sentence in this paragraph, maybe. 2 major things that he stressed were that the groundwork of the film industry, quote, is built on connections and flexibility. No matter where you are, just make as many connections as you can. When those connections start to work on new projects or are hired to find more people for a certain job, they look for people that are friendly and have reached out to them in the past. Absolutely, I know that to be true from friends in film. Professor Jacobson said the art of constantly looking is necessary for any job in the film industry. In the beginning, take a job no matter what it is. It'll get you lines on a resume, i.e. internships and production assistant jobs. I guess there was something you were going to add there. As you continue to work, more opportunities that you're actually interested in will start to appear. To succeed, you need to work hard and understand that, quote, you can love it, but sometimes it won't love you back. As long as you're finding... I feel like you need to explain more what you think he meant by that. I think it's he, right? As long as you're finding work and still fulfilled by maintaining creativity, it makes any job in the industry easier. Wait, what? As long as you're finding work and are fulfilled by maintaining creativity, it makes any job easier. I don't think that's what you meant to say, but I know you know what you meant to say. Although it is possible to be somewhere other than New York or Los Angeles, to be in places where you... Although it is possible, quote, be in places... I feel like maybe you would say something like, he advises that someone should, or something better than that. Quote, be in places where you'll find the work. These big cities bring a guarantee of solid work. Maybe solid work opportunities, maybe. Upon asking about the controversies of diversity in Hollywood, Professor Jacobson referred back to his time in I think we usually say as an undergraduate. He had always worked with people of different races, let's put an S there, genders, sexual orientations, etc. But in college, where he met, I think you mean, it was in college where he met people that were very opinionated about who they worked with. This seems like two separate thoughts. One of them is about he worked with different people. Oh no, okay, he always worked with different people. But when he went to college, he met people who are opinionated about who they work with. Well, the fact that I'm like trying to figure it out hopefully can help you try and figure it out. His main takeaway from many years of working in the industry is to, quote, work with people who do the job best and bring more people in with different backgrounds. So he's talking about choosing among available jobs, obviously after, as you said, once you have your choice of some jobs. Give hardworking people a chance because the next film producer might not. Who are you speaking to there? I don't know. Although while starting out, no matter where you are, you don't have a lot of influence in the overall production, yes. Just by doing your part and being kind in any situation will go a long way. Whoa, these glasses really make my eyes look crazy. So I think you mean it'll take a while before you get to influence like who's on set, who's hired for a production. But doing your part and being kind, particularly to people who are, not white, cis, male, did I miss something? Americans or whatever. Yeah. Okay. A big staple of the film industry is the award show season. I'm going to have to make you 2 videos. We'll interrupt ourselves in a minute. A staple event of the film industry is the award show season. To get a good glimpse of the ideals, how big corporations deal with these underlying controversies of the field and the specific communication techniques used between filmmakers and big companies, looking at various movie award shows, rules and regulations will be an excellent preparation for going into the show business industry. Again, let me stop and say, you have all kinds of great ideas here. And all the ideas behind your writing are just good. I feel like you're kind of afraid that people, and I could be wrong about this, but I feel like you're kind of afraid that people aren't going to get what you're saying, so you end up using more words and kind of stretching your sentence out to try and say more about that thing. And I really feel like you can trust yourself to choose the right words and just really get there. Okay, my main focus. Sorry, I'm going to start your second video because we're almost too long, and I'll start it with, in that paragraph, a staple event of the award film industry is the award show season.